Last day we just been talking about delegates. We just been talked about delegates. In this, I said you some small things also. Delegates are two types. First, unicast, multicast. Then we talked about anonymous methods. Then we talked about lambda expressions, and then we talked about expression bodied members. All these things, right? Well, guys, the next topic what we have here is basically we're done with delegates. Anonymous types are there. Just like anonymous methods, we have something called as anonymous types. It's a small topic, guys. What is it? Anonymous types. It's a new feature introduced in C# 3.2 actually. What exactly is it is? See, I want to represent an employee now. I want to represent an employee. If you want to represent an employee, what you require to do, you're just required to create an instance of the class employee first, right? Public class employee, public int ID, get set, public string name, get set, public string job, get set, public double salary, get set, public goal status, get set. Okay. So this is a class now. I defined a class with 5 attributes. An employee has 5 attributes now. I defined a class with 5 attributes. Now we can create the instance of the class here. How? Employee emp is equals to new employee. And guys, we don't have a parameterized constructor in the class now. And I already taught you, if you don't have a parameterized constructor, the simplest way is you can use object initializers. You can use object initializers. ID is equals to 1001. Name is equals to Scott. Job is equals to manager. Salary is equals to some 50,000. Status is equals to true. Are you guys clear? So what you're doing, you're defining a class now and you're creating an instance of the class. Now see, what is the name of the instance? EMP. Now EMP contains 5 values in it. Am I correct? EMP contains 5 values in it. Now I want to pass all these values from one place to another place now. I want to pass all the values from one place to another place. Later, completing this, we'll be learning web applications, guys. When we learn web applications, what we do, we just design web pages. We design the web pages. Now, in that scenario, you understand, we have a class where we will write code to create an employee object, where the data can come from a database going forward. Now, this object should be displayed on a web page now. Web page means HTML page. Actually, all this code will be in the CS.cs, C# code. But finally, the output should be displayed in a HTML page. Now, I can pass this object to the HTML page, and in the HTML page, I can access all the 5 values now. Did you understand me? Means one way is pass each value individually. 10 values are there. Pass 10 values individually. Second option, I pass the object here, all 10 values are accessible. Which one is better? Passing 10 values individually or passing a single value now? We have passed a single object and the object contains all the 10 values in it now. Did you understand my point or not? That is the advantage. But if you at all want to do this, first you require to define this class now. Without defining the class, I cannot create a instance? Yes or not? But mainly, what is the need of this instance? Actually, my intention is I want this instance to pass the values from my CS to HTML. Just for example, I'm telling you CS to HTML. It's a one-time use. It is a one-time use. And for that, we are again defining one class now. Are you getting me? A time-taking process now. Define a class, use it, and that too, we don't have usability. How many times you want to use? One time. To overcome this particular problem, they introduced the concept called as anonymous types. What's an anonymous type? An anonymous type means basically the concept is you can create the instance of a type which you have not defined. You can create the instance of a type which you have not defined. So what do you mean by that? How can I create an instance of a type for which I not defined it now? Okay, watch it. See, this is one mechanism. Define a class and create an instance. Now, second option, I did not define any class at all. I did not define any class at all. But simply what I can say now, where emp is equals to new of, I don't have a class. I don't have any class. And because I don't have any class, I can write my code like this now. What is the class name, sir? I did not specify the class name anywhere, see? What did I use? Where keyword. And after new, there is no class name now. Are you getting me? You can create an instance like this. And now, compiler will define the class for you. Did you get my point or not? Class is there now also, but you are not defining the class. Who is going to define? Compiler means your work is reduced. You directly can use this object now. Send this object to the HTML page and you can access all the values in the HTML now. Are you getting me? So which one is simple now? Defining a class and creating an instance, or directly creating an instance so that compiler defines a class for you? Compiler will create a class now. And in the class, all these five properties now. Read-only properties, guys. All these five read-only properties now. This creation time you can initialize. On the view, you can access the, you can get the values. You can get the, actually our requirement is that only now. We want to pass the value from the CS2 and HTML to get the value now. So just to read only. It is going to be read only. And ID will be integer type. Name will be string type. Job will be string type. How, sir? Where keyword. Array, where? Anonymous. We already know this particular thing. When I use where, what happens based on the value, it will identify the type now. Are you getting my point or not? It will automatically recognize the things and you can just start consuming it. You may ask a question, sir, what is the type name? I'll show you the type name, but what if the type name is none of our business? Why, sir? You need object, not the name of the class. Array, whatever is the name of the class, what you will do here, what you need? Object of the class. What is the object of your class now? EMP. That's enough for you. What is the name of the type? No need. Why? I don't specify that anywhere now. But still, we can see the class, all the things we can see. I'll show you. Are you getting me or not? Okay, just watch. Let me add a class. I think I named it as test anonymous types. Okay, I named it as anonymous type. Any name here, no issues. I named it as anonymous type.cs. Okay. So look here. I'm writing a main method, static void main. And here I'm writing this line of code. If I want to write this, I should define this class. No, I'm not going to define the class. Directly, I am creating the instance directly where emp is equals to, yeah guys, have a look. Okay, now, yes guys, before I compile the code, I did not still compile my code. When you run the project is compiled now, we have written the code, we did not compile anything. Open the developer command prompt. What's the folder? 9 project bin debug net send pointer. I brought you to the location of your assembly now. Okay, remember this tool now? Oops project.dll. Yeah, observe. This is your namespace, and in this namespace you have all the classes now. Okay, I shown you this already to you. Okay, now let me come to the project. Just a minute before that. Once, see, under this you see you have manifest, Microsoft.code analysis, oops project, system.runtime.compiler services, private implementation details. We have some information here. Okay, well, now come to your project here and build your project. When you build, it's going to recompile and regenerate the assembly now. Correct? Now you will find your class now. What class? The anonymous class which is defined. Observe. Did you notice anything new here? What? This is the class. F underscore underscore anonymous type of 0 is the class. If you write another one, anonymous type 1, anonymous type 2, that is how it will name them now. What is this 5, you know? The 5 indicates 5 properties. The 5 indicates 5 properties. What are those? ID, name, job, salary, status. The 5 indicates the 5 properties we define now. Just to show you the class, I just shown you, but this class name and all are unnecessary for me. Do you catch my point? They're unnecessary for me. You can see that from the studio also. How you know this, guys? All of you know this, na? It'll tell you the type name. What the type name you saw? F underscore underscore anonymous type of 0, right? You can see this on the monitor. Check. The same name you will see. Check. First property, integer. Second property, string. Third one, string. Fourth one, double. Fifth one, boolean. Are you guys clearer or not? Understood? Now, tomorrow, I can pass this object directly to my view now or in my HTML page, and I can access all the 5 values in the HTML page. Did you understand my point? Okay. So that is the advantage of them. Without defining a class, we can treat it like a class and create an object directly. Got the point or not? Without defining a class, we can treat it like a class and we can create an object. That's why what the class names are none of the business. That's why I did not specify the name anywhere. How did you write? Var emp is equals to new of, and you have just specified all the values. Clearer or not? Something wrong. Guys, in this, I also want to represent the department of the employee. I also want to represent the department of the employee. Now, department has 3 attributes again. What attributes are? ID, name, location. Array, department has 3 attributes again. What are that? Means you are required to define a separate class for department now. Are you getting me? So what's it? Public class department. What are the attributes? Public int ID. Public string name. Next, public string location of the department, where the department is located. Are you clear? Now every employee has as one department now. Every employee has a department. So here see public. Say name is which type? String is a class now? Yes or not? Now same way I can use my department as my type now. Public department, some name. I'm giving the name also as DPT. Any name you like, man. DPT is the name I'm giving. Are you clear? Get set. Now, how to use this? How to use this? You know, you're saying status is equals to salary is equals to same way. Now you can write comma department is equals to what? Three attributes now. Department is equals to department now. Are you clear? So what should I write? New department of ID, name, location. Delhi. What did we do? Nested. Nested, guys. One object is nested into another object now. See, this is an object. It's a department object. The department object is assigned to DPT. Array, what is this, guys? This is a string object now. String object, the same way. Department object. But to do this, you define the two classes here. The same thing, how you can do here, you know? You don't require all this nonsense now. Property is equals to new of ID is equals to 10. Name is equals to sales. Location is equals to Delhi. That's it. Okay, check it out. Yeah, come here. Let's add comma department equal to new of ID 10, name sales, location Delhi. Check. There are two anonymous types now. First one, 0. How many attributes? 6 attributes. First one is integer type. Second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, anonymous. Array, sixth one is an anonymous type now. And this is the new anonymous type. How many attributes? What are the types now? Int, string. Can I see from here, sir? Yeah, you can see from ILDSM also. Check. 0, 1. 6 attributes, 3 attributes. Is it clearer or not? So basically, this is a mechanism what we use for transporting the data from one place to another place. We best use it when we work with MVC, guys. We best use it when we work with MVC. That's what I'm telling you. When we're learning MVC, at the point of time, I'll show you this clearly. In MVC classes, I'll show you. We will pass values from our CS file to HTML file by using this one. Understood or not? In CS file, we will write all the logic to get the data from a database or a file or somewhere. And now the data should be sent to HTML file, and HTML file has to show the output now. So there, I will first create a anonymous type object now, and I'll pass it to the view HTML file, and HTML file can access all the values. Okay. So here, I don't have HTMLs and all. In C# only, if all you want to pass it. Here also we can do here. See here, I'm writing another class here, guys. Internal class. The name of the class is printer. The name of the class is printer. And here, I want to write one static method. Public static void print is the method. Now, what is the requirement, you know? From this class, we created an object. What object? I want to send this EMP here, and in the print, I want to write the code for printing all the values now. Did you understand me or not? What I want to do? I want to pass this EMP here and I want to use it. If you want to pass it, your method requires a parameter now. But if you want to define a parameter, you need a type, but you did not define any types now. Did you define the department and employee types? You did not. If you define it, you can use it, but you did not define it. Correct now? So use dynamic. Use dynamic. Remember, where cannot be used as method parameter, but dynamic can be used as method parameter. This is not possible, guys. Where cannot be used. See, error. But dynamic can be used as method parameter. And once it is dynamic, you can pass anything to it now. So here, what you do? Call the method. What method? Printer dot. Static now? Printer dot. Print. What do you pass? EMP. Now the EMP straight away comes to T. You noticed it? I'm passing the values from this class to. But going forward in web applications, what we'll see? From CS file to HTML we'll see there. Okay, now class to class only I'm showing you, but there CS to HTML we'll see. Now here you can print all the values. Console dot right line. What is the first attribute? Employee ID, right? Dot ID. Second one, name. Third, job. 4, salary. 5, status. 6, 7, eight, department. Come on, let's print it. D dot name. D dot job. D dot salary. D dot status. D dot DEPT dot ID. Understood? DEPT dot name. DEPT dot location. What is that? What is ID, guys? ID is an attribute of that. ID is an attribute. Same way, DEPT is an attribute now, but that's a complex type. So under that again, dot ID. Did you guys understand? Yes or not? Run and see. All values. Understood, all of you? But I said you the main purpose of this is going forward, we will use it in our web application development for transporting the data from a CS file to HTML file. We'll see there how to use it. But here, just a simple example I want to give you. What is an anonymous type? So again, in MVC, when I was talking about it, you will not have a doubt what is the anonymous type again there. Are you clear? We'll use these anonymous types there and we will pass on the values from the CS file to HTML file. And in HTML file, same. Yeah. Assume like this is the CS here. Assume like this is HTML now. Now see in HTML, I can access all the values. I'm accessing. I'm printing all the values. And don't forget, all these are read-only properties, guys. We can only get the value. We cannot set the value. And our requirement is that only. From CS to HTML, I want to transport the data. That's all. Point clearer or not? Okay, that is what anonymous type is all about. And introduced in C# 3.0 version. Read it. C# allows you to create an instance with a new keyword without defining a class. The implicitly typed variable var or dynamic, either var can be used or dynamic is used to hold the reference of anonymous type. Example, var emp is equals to. If you want, you can write dynamic emp also, no problem. Okay, now next. Emp is an instance of anonymous type. Emp is an instance of anonymous type, which is created by using the new keyword and object initializer syntax. It includes 5 properties of different data types. An anonymous type is a temporary type. Understand, is a temporary type that is inferred based on the data that you include in an object initializer. Properties of anonymous type will be read-only properties. So you cannot change their values. You cannot change their values. Next, notice that the compiler applies the appropriate type to each property based on the value assigned. For example, ID is of integer type. Name and job are string types. Correct? Salary is of double type and status is of Boolean type. Status is a Boolean type basically. Internally, the compiler automatically generates a new type for anonymous types. You can check that by calling get a type method on the anonymous type instance, which will return the. That's what it prints to you now. Remember that anonymous types are derived from the object class. Yeah, that's why you call it get type now. Even that is an implicit type also, whatever it is, what I said to you, every class that is predefined or user defined inherits from object. So anonymous type also inherits from object now. That is why you want the get type method, not only get type equals garage code, toString, all methods you can call. Okay. Remember that anonymous types are derived from object class and they are sealed classes. And all the properties are created as read-only properties. An anonymous type will always be local to the method where it is defined. Usually, you cannot pass an anonymous type to another method. However, you can do that. You can do that. Sorry, correct one. You can pass it to a method that acts as parameter of type. That one is only I pass it to a method which has dynamic type now. Anonymous type can be nested. Anonymous types can be nested. That is, an anonymous type can have another anonymous type as a property. We saw that already. Okay, and points to remember. First point. New keyword, object initializer syntax. Next, where our dynamic keyword is used to hold an anonymous type. Next. Again, it's a type, you'll have doubts, sir, value type or reference type. Reference type class, man. It's a class only, reference type. Okay, next. It is local to the method. If you want to send it to someplace, you can send it. The other method should have dynamic so that you can transport the data from here to there again. That's what I shown you. From anonymous type, I pass the value to the print method of the printer class now. Correct? Next, to test anonymous type, add a code file. What is the name? Test anonymous types.cs and write the following code in it. Just a minute here. Class name typed wrong here. What is the name? Test anonymous types dot. Okay, test anonymous types. Nothing matter. Okay, but in the print mistake is there. I set the name of the class as test anonymous type. So here it will create you as test anonymous types only, not as anonymous type. Wrongly printed. Okay, whatever the class name, not a matter. You can just see anonymous type instance, and you are passing it to print. And this is a printer class now. Dynamic type. Printed all the values. Same thing only explained you. Is it clear? Okay, but we need them when we are working with MVC. That's just given an idea to you here. But going forward in MVC, we will be using this anonymous types. So do remember here, you can even write dynamic calls. You can use where also. We can use dynamic also. Both works. Okay. Fine. Next. All this here, finally, we are just talking on the leftovers here. All small concepts only from yesterday. What lambda expressions, anonymous methods, anonymous types. All these are small leftovers. We are just summing up everything now. Finally, one more topic is there, guys. Partial classes, partial types or partial classes. What is that? Let me ask you a question. Can I define multiple classes in one file? Now also we defined two classes we defined. So can I define multiple classes in a file? Yes. How many? Any number of classes we can define in a file. There is no issue with that. Are you clear? Okay. So can I define multiple classes in a file, miss? Yes. But if I ask you a question like this, can I define one class in multiple files? When I say this, it really sounds confusing now. What is it, sir? Writing one class in multiple files? A file is not a paper. You write, you have a big class code, right? You have write in one page now. Not sufficient, you write in another page now. But a file is not a paper to write it on multiple files. When I ask this question, it really sounds confusing. Why? What is it here? Can I write one class in multiple files? How do you break, sir? How do you write this class? Half code in one file, half code in one file. Is it really valid? So this is a big confusion in our minds. Am I correct? But still, it is possible. What is possible? A class can be defined on more than one file. A class can be defined on more than one file. And if you define a class like this in multiple files, we call that as partial class. What is it? Partial. Not only class here, you can apply this concept on classes, structures, and interfaces also. Not on enums and delegates. Enums and delegates cannot be done, but classes can be defined on one class can be defined on multiple files. One structure can be defined on multiple files. One interface can be defined on multiple files, but you cannot use it on delegates and enums. Alright, delegate is one line here. Where is the chance to break it now and write in 2 or 3 files? Are you clear? Okay. So how do you do it, sir? Watch this picture. Look on the left-hand side first. I have a class. What is the class name? Parts. And the class has 4 methods. Method 1, method 2, method 3, method 4. And tomorrow, if you create the instance of the class parts, you can call the 4 methods. Am I right? Now look, the same code on the right-hand side is defined on 2 files. One file is part 1, one file is part 2. And what did you do? You written 2 methods in one file, 2 methods in one file, but 2 files, and check it out. The class name is parts only. Array, class name is parts only. Tomorrow, if you create the instance of the left-hand side class, you can call 4 methods now. Same with right-hand side also. Array, one class only that is. It means actually, developer writes on multiple files. But at the time of compilation, compiler will combine all these parts together and make it as one class. Did you get my point or not? Developer writes this on multiple files, but at the time of compilation, what the compiler will do? Combine all these parts together and makes it as one class now. I hope you guys are clear what I'm telling you. Yes or not? That is what happens. I'll show you. Watch. Let us add a code file in the project. We'll name it as part 1. What I'm naming? Part 1.cs. Now, namespace oops project. Okay. I'm writing internal, simply default is internal, yeah, class parts. Okay. And here I'm writing public void method 1 console dot write line method 1. Method 2 method 2. I want to write 2 more methods in this class. Yeah, directly write the 2 methods here. Not a problem. Second option, write in another file. Write in another file. The remaining two methods I want to write in another file now, not in the same file. So what you do? Add another code file, name it as part 1 is here, na? Part 2, part 2.cs. Same story, namespace, puts project. Now, class parts. When you define this class parts, immediately there is an error. See, what is the error? It is telling you already in this namespace, there is a class called parts now. And again, you're trying to define another class with the same name called parts. Are you getting me or not? So these two are two separate classes. One class. These two are two separate classes now. So two classes cannot have the same name now. That's why it is giving an error. But what is your intention? You want it as two separate classes. You want it as one class. Our intention is we want it as one class, not as. But compiler is now treating as two separate classes. Are you getting me? How to tell these two are one only? These two are not two separate classes. These two are one only. I want to tell that. And to tell that, I require to use partial keyword. See now, I came to the first file and written partial. I came to the second file and I'm writing partial. Watch it. There is no error. The partial is to tell what is that another part of this class is present in another file of the project now. Are you clear? Okay, but don't forget, you cannot write these parts in separate project. They should be in the same project, same namespace. You can't write in separate namespace also. Both should be in the same project only, same namespace only. So then only they can be combined. Then only they can be combined. Now, the other two methods, what I want to define them in this file. What are that? Three. See, look at all of you. 2 is giving error. Why? Already 2 is there now. But separate file now. Same class. File may be different, but class is same only. You are living in one house, separate rooms. These rooms are only logical separation, but both are in the same house only. Got it? So this one, I'm naming it as 4. And watch it, guys. Let me add another class here. What is this class? Test class here. I want to name it as test parts. Test parts. Now here, I will write the main method. Create the instance of the parts class. And you guys observe, you can call all the 4 methods. Check. They're physically different, but logically one class only. Physically defined on 2 files, but logically one class. So how many files can I have like this? Minimum 2, maximum no limit. Minimum 2, maximum no limit. I want to write 100 methods now. I want to write 100 methods. I can take 100 files now. I can write one method in one file now. But at the end of the day, that is only one class, and that object will provide me access to all the 100 methods. Okay, you can observe 1, 2, 3, and 4. Console dot rate line. Now run the test parts class. Are you clear? Some spacings not added properly. Got it? And all of you, remember, it's one class only. How to test it, sir? Go to ILDASM and verify this. In this, you will be finding only one class called as parts, and under that only, you'll find all the 4 methods. Check it out. You don't have 2 parts, one only. So what happens, sir, at the time of compilation, compiler combined all these parts together and made it as one class. Clearer or not? Understood? What is the advantage, sir? It allows multiple programmers to work on the same class at the same time. That is the advantage. It allows multiple programmers to work on the same class at the same time. Generally, in a company, you are making modifications on an existing class. You are making some modifications on an existing class. And I too want to make changes now. Now I need to wait until you are done. Otherwise, my changes and your changes will collide now. Yes or not? See, you're making some changes. I will make some changes. How to merge them? Complicated now. So to avoid this particular problem, if you use partial classes, you can work on the same class on one file. I can work on the same class on another file now. You work on one file, I'll work on another file. Got the point? It allows multiple programmers to work on the same class at the same time. Second advantage is, this is the advantage. Where we use it, sir, where we use it. See, till now, every line of code you are writing in your application, correct? Till now, every line of code you are manually writing in your application. Whatever code you want, you are typing the code explicitly in your application now. Got my point or not? But put this in the mind. What is that? Going forward, you have a feature called as a drag and drop feature. Going forward, you have a feature called as a drag and drop feature. What is the drag and drop feature, sir? What the drag and drop feature is? Our next topic will be working with the GUI programming. Next, we are going to start with GUI programming. And when you guys start with the GUI programming, I want to design a login page now. You need to have some controls, text boxes, labels, buttons, and all these things. And you want the text box now. Text box is one class. You're required to first create the instance of that class now. And you're required to set some properties to the class. What is the name of the text box? What is the width of the text box? What is the height of the text box? What is the background color of the text box? What is the text color of the text box? What is the maximum text to the text box can I accept? I need to set up all the properties now. Are you clear? So to create one text box, minimum some 10 lines of code you are required to write. More than 10 only we write up, but minimum 10 lines. Imagine now, you want to create a page with 50 text boxes now. You want to create a page with 50 text boxes. Now you are required to write 500 lines of code. Minimum, that is. Minimum 500 lines of code. Like this for every control. You want to design a screen now with 100 controls. With 100, 200 controls are there now. 100, 200 controls are there. Means 1000 to 2000 lines of coding you should write now. Only for creating. Are you getting me? Later, there is a save button. When you click on the save button, you need to write all the code for saving this data to database. That is secondary again. Then what is the 1000 lines, 2000 lines code? The 1000, 2000 lines of code is the designer code. The designer code means that only for construction of the form. That's it. Construction of the screen. Later, you are required to write business logic now. What business logic? This text box should accept numeric values only. This text box should accept only alphanumeric values. Is a password should accept a special character. Maximum could be 16 characters length. Like this, I want to do some data validations now. And apart from that, when I click on the save, I need to write the database coding for saving all the data to the database. We call all this as business logic. Means we have designer code and we have business logic. Did you understand me or not? Designer code and business logic. Means lot of coding has to be written now. But without this headache, when you work with the .NET, Visual Studio provides you a beautiful feature called as drag and drop. What is the drag and drop? If you want a text box here, In the studio, the left-hand side, it will show you all the controls now. Whatever control you want, drag and drop on your screen there, that's all. You want it exports, drag and drop. You want a button, drag and drop. Just what you require to do is drag and drop. When you drag and drop, Studio will write off the code for you now. These are 1,000, 2,000 lines of designer code, what we are talking, we don't require to write, man. Who will write that code? Visual Studio will write the code. Then what should I write, sir? You should write only the business logic. You should write only the business logic. Are you clearer or not? Studio doesn't write business logic. Why? How do Studio know here? What is your password validation? How do Studio know what is the database coding? Which table? Which database? You only should do that. Understood all of you or not? Are you clear? So initially what we thought, I should write designer code, I should write business logic. But now I'm telling you, no need here. Designer code will be written by Studio. You write the business logic. But both of you will write code in same class only. Correct or not? Both of you will write code in same class only. So how many programmers are working on this class? 2 programmers are working now. Who is the one programmer in Studio? Second programmer? You. Understood or not? So finally, how do you know what code is written by Studio and what code is written by programmer? Studio has written some 1,000 lines of code. I have written another 1,000 lines of code in the same class. How do you know which class is written by Studio, which class is written by programmer? Confusing now? It uses partial classes now. It uses partial classes. Means every class will have 2 files now. In one file, Studio will write the code. In one file, you write the code. Got it or not? So in all the GUI development from now onwards, when we go to GUI, in all GUI development, we use partial classes. Everywhere you'll come now. So now we start with Windows. Partial classes will come now. Are you getting my point or not? It comes with a partial class. 2 files. One file, Studio writes. One file, no write. That's it. Hope you guys are clear. Tell me. So that is the place where we use the partial classes. Wherever there is a UI, wherever there is a GUI, not UI, wherever there is a GUI, partial classes comes into picture. Okay, now that is a scenario where partial classes gets used in the real time. Fine. So let us just try to understand some few things about it. Come on, read it. It's possible to split the definition of a class or struct or interface over 2 or how many it is not telling you, 2 minimum, maximum, no limit. Next, each source file contains a section of the type definition and all parts are combined when the application is compiled. Compiled, all parts are combined of now. There are several situations when splitting a class definition is desirable, like when working on large projects, spreading a type over separate files enables multiple programmers to work on it at the same time. The first advantage is that you multiple programmers can work on the same class at the same time now. Second, Visual Studio uses these partial classes for auto generation of source code in the development of Windows Forms application, WPF application, Web Forms application, web services, and so on. In all these projects, partial classes will come. Is the picture clear? Points to remember. First point. Remember, when we did not use the partial keyword, we got the error. But once I added the partial keyword, the error got resolved now. What the partial indicates? The partial indicates other parts are present for this now. There are other parts for this class. Next. All parts, not in one part here. You record use in all parts. See, we used in part 1 also, part 2 also. Third point. Compilation type, all the parts must be available. Means what is the meaning? They should be in the same project. You write one part in one project, another part in one project. I am comparing project 1. Why will project 2 available with you now? Yes or not? So that's what is the point to understand? Everything should be in the same project and same namespace also. Okay, next point. Be careful here. In one file you're writing internal and one other file you're writing public. Error will come now. All parts must have the same scope now. Either both are internal or either both are public. But you know one thing? What? Right now, I did not specify any scope in both the two parts. Default is internal by public. Default is internal. Yes or not? But suppose, guys, in one part, if I write public, automatically the second also changes to public. The whole class is public now. Means you don't require to write in every file now. You write in one file that automatically applies to the second file also. If I write public here, even though I don't write public here, this is public only. But see, guys, here I'm writing, this is error. This is error. If you try to do this, it's an error. See the error coming now. Are you clear? Don't write here anything. No error, nothing. See, no error, nothing. Why? Second part is also public now. Understood? Anything you want to do in this class, listen, anything you want to do on this class, do in one file, applies to the whole class. No need to write in both the places. Means another example I'll tell you. See, I want to inherit this class from program class. I want to inherit this class from program class. Are you clear? Colon. Enough. I don't require to go to my second file also and say colon program. One file you write, it applies, no? In one file I write public, the whole class is public. In one file I write sealed, the whole class is sealed. In one file I write abstract, the whole class is abstract. Okay, read the continuation. All the parts must have the same accessibility such as public or internal. That is clear now? Next point. That's what I said to you. Next. One file you write sealed, the whole type is sealed. Next. That also is on here. Next. What is that, sir? What is that? Nothing, man. See, listen, we have two parts now. Part 1 is inheriting from iMath1. The first part is inheriting from iMath1. And iMath1 has two methods, add and subtract. Okay. Now let me go to the second part. And second part is inheriting from iMath2. And this has two methods. What is it? Multiply and division. Okay. Now how many methods are there? 4 methods to implement. You can implement the 4 methods in any file here. It is not like compulsory because this is iMath2. It is not like mandatory I should write multiply and divide here. I can write multiply and divide methods in other part also. Why? When everything is combined together, what is the question where you write it now? Did you understand me or not? So what is it telling you? Final type should implement everything. Where you write? I want to ask you. I want to write all the 4 methods in one file only. Or I want to write in reverse. What is it? The methods of the part 1 in part the methods of iMath1 in part 2, the methods of iMath2 in part 1. You reverse and write also, no problem. Why? Compilation time, when the time of compilation, everything is compiled, you write in that file or this file, that doesn't matter at all. Are you getting my point? That's what I was mentioning you over there. What is it? Read again. Different interfaces. And the final type implements listed by all the partial. Final, everything should be implemented. That's all. Next. You declare something in part 1, you can access in part 2. Scopes doesn't come into picture. Why is there? Well, one class only. That's only one class. Not 2 classes. If 2 classes are there, then scope will come into picture telling you members of one class cannot be used in another class. When both are one class, why scopes comes into picture now? Scopes doesn't come into picture at all now. Next. Final type is a combination of all the parts. Next. Already said you cannot use it on delegates and enums. You can use it only on classes, structures, interfaces. That's it. Okay. To test partial classes, add new code files. One is part 1, one is part 2. Finally, test parts. In test parts, You are creating the instance and calling all the four methods from here. Method one, method two, method three, and method four. Yeah, we're just creating the instance and calling all the four methods from here. Am I clear, everyone? Yes or not? So this is all about partial classes. It's all about the partial classes. Where do we use them? We use them in the Windows programming. We're just going to use them in the Windows program. Actually, guys, the next okay, just a minute. But why do we use partial keyword? To tell both are one and the same, yeah. If we don't use partial keyword, it throws an error. What error? Already we have a class called parts and you cannot define another class called parts now. Because in a project, I cannot have two classes with the same name. I need to define them with separate names. So how to differentiate now? Partial. A partial will tell you these are not two classes. This is one class, but written in files. This is one class only, but written in two separate files. That is the meaning of it. That's why we use it. Okay. Actually, the next concept, collections here, but I don't want to tell about these collections. We'll talk about this. We'll start with Windows programming first. Related, because all these are linked up there. What delegates, partial classes, all these are linked with the Windows. We'll talk about these collections and all in the last. We'll talk in the last. Okay, they're not related with our Windows and database programming. So first I will teach you Windows programming and database programming. Later I will talk about these collections and everything. Yeah, we'll talk on the Windows programming first. So what is this Windows programming? Guys, still now, see, for every application, you need a UI, user interface, for displaying the output to the user or taking some input from the user. Am I right or wrong? We need a user interface, either for displaying the output to the user or for taking the input from the user. UI is mandatory. So all applications require a user interface. Now, just notice one thing. What is it? User interfaces are two types. User interfaces are two types. What are the two types? CUI, GUI. One is CUI and one is GUI. Character user interfaces, graphical user interfaces. So what is a character user interface and what is a graphical user interface? Character user interface means it is what we are learning till now, till date, from the last 1.5 month of our classes. Till date, what we are learning is about the CUI, character user interfaces. Is my point clear? Okay, so till the last 1 month, what are we learning is character user interfaces. The drawback of the character user interfaces is they are not user friendly. They are not user friendly. The best example, DOS OS, Linux OS, are these user friendly? You require to learn all the commands first. If at all you want to use them, you want to create a folder, you should know there is a command called as make directory. You want to change from one drive to another drive, you are required to use a command, drive name colon. You want to change a folder, CD. You want to come to the root folder, CD backslash, CD backslash. Like this, we are just going to use a set of commands. And with the help of all these commands, we are just going to Hmm. So what you require? You require a set of commands basically. And with the help of these commands, we are just going to design our user interfaces. Sorry, with the help of the commands, we interact with the OS now. Where in character user interfaces. In character user interfaces, what we use? Commands. And these commands are going to help us. These commands are going to help us for navigating, for performing the actions. And guys, hundreds of commands are there. Who remembers here all these commands? Not easy. That is why you know one thing. Earlier, we have only CUIs. We don't have GUIs. GUIs came when in mid of 80s, in mid of 80s or in the late 90s. Sorry, in the late 80s. In the late 80s, we have the GUIs. So when before that, what we have is only CUIs. And when the computers have only CUI, computers are not at all in reach of common men at all. Can you expect a common man to remember all these commands now? Tell me, can an illiterate or not educated much, just studied only some 10th class or something, and you cannot expect him to remember all these commands and work with a computer now? So computers are not at all in reach of common men at all. They are for only highly skilled and professionals. Highly skilled and professional people, not for common men at all. Are you getting me or not? Okay, not user friendly. All these are the drawbacks. All these are the major drawbacks what we'll have. So that's why, see, I'll show you one more thing here. This is CUI only now. I entered a value. I entered wrong value in the first number. I entered wrong value. I want to enter 1000, but I entered 100 now. Go back and change it. Go back and change now. You cannot. You need to stop it and start again now. Two values only, not a problem. But imagine you are entering some 20 values. When you are entering the 20th value, you notice that there is a mistake in the 19th value now. Do you know what you are saying now? Stop and start from the first again. Start and stop from the first again now. See that? These are all the headaches in the CUI now. And to resolve these particular problems, in mid of 80s, in the mid of 80s or in the late 80s, Microsoft came out with a new concept called as GUI, graphical user interfaces. And the best example is Windows OS. No need any other thing to talk about it. Windows operating system is the best example for graphical user interface. You want to create a folder in DOS. What is the command? mkdir. The command name is mkdir. And most of you are not able to answer this question now. I want to create a folder in Windows. Tell me, right click, new folder. Everyone will answer this now. Why? Easy. That's what user friendliness. It's not your user friendliness. Understanding of English and minimum common sense is enough to work with a GUI. You don't require to be a highly skilled and a professional people. Everyone using an ATM today doesn't know about computers. What he knows, go there, click the button, just to withdraw the money, come. But the same thing there, you have a CUI now. And you need to go and type some commands. No one will be able to do that now. Yes or not? Okay, so that's what. So graphical user interface, GUIs are user friendly compared with CUI. Okay, so like this, what came into picture now? GUIs came in the market. Like this, GUIs came in the market, and now people started working with the GUIs. And the first GUI OS is Windows, followed by so many other OS came now. But first one is Windows. Okay, well, now what happened, Windows operating system came, and all the people enjoyed the Windows operating system, but developers are unhappy. Developers are unhappy. Why, sir? What is the problem? Even though the OS is GUI, their applications are CUI only. Why? OS is available, but there is no programming language to build GUI. Till now, our OS is GUI only, but did we develop any GUI? Yeah? What we developed? All CUI only. Yes or not? So at that point, also developers have the same problem now. What are that? They don't have any language to develop the GUI. All languages like C language, C++ language, all these languages are just designed for CUI development only. Is it clear? Understood? Huh? So at that point of time, at the rescue of the developers, Microsoft only came forward and launched the first GUI language in the market. The first GUI voice came from Microsoft, and the first GUI language also came from Microsoft. What is that, sir? All of you know that. Visual Basic, the first GUI language introduced in 1991. Okay, and that is the language. And people enjoyed a lot with that language. Why? Easy. Just now I said you drag and drop. You want to create a GUI, just drag and drop and write out the code now. That much easy Microsoft has designed and given to them. Microsoft products means overprinting. That's the first thing you'll have. Okay. So like this, they came out with an easy to use approach and introduced the Visual Basic language in the market. And Visual Basic became a grand success. It became a grand success. How much grand success means, you can understand. It is one of the product which contributed for becoming Microsoft the richest company in the world. See, since the last 4 or 5 years back, Microsoft only the richest company are really continuously for 20 years, they're the richest company. For the last 4 or 5 years, it was just dominated by Amazon and Tesla. Amazon and now it is Tesla. But earlier, 20 years, Microsoft has ruled the market, the richest company in the world. Are you clear? So in all this, so many contributed, so many products, MS Office, Windows operating system, number of products contributed for this. Okay, and one of the products which contributed is Visual Basic. But today, Microsoft is not focused on these particular things at all. They don't focus on the money what they get from these products. Their complete focus is on Azure. 70% of the Microsoft revenues comes from Azure. Remaining 30% only selling this operating system. That's it. They don't bother much on this. They don't bother much on this particular thing because their major revenue source is Azure. Even Amazon, I think Amazon's major revenue source is selling the products. AWS. AWS is their major revenue source. Not many people think like Amazon selling its products worldwide. That doesn't generate much revenue here. Like a lot of discounts and that one, this one, only to run the show, to run the business that happens. That's all. But the major source of revenue is AWS. The major source of revenue for Microsoft is Azure. This will generate you a lot of money. Got it? Okay. Like this, the Windows operating system came now. Sorry, the Visual Basic language came and it has conquered the world. Every company started using the Visual Basic now. So many other languages came as a competitor for Visual Basic, but still they are not up to the mark. So many languages came here, but they are not up to the mark. They are not as successful as Visual Basic. Everything is going good. But 95, 96, Java came in the market. Java came in the market. Java also provided GUIs. But Java given an advantage to the developers. What is it? You're building GUIs with VB and able to run on Windows, but you build a GUI with Java. I'm giving a chance to run on multiple operating systems now. Java is platform independent. Yes or not? So you can run it on multiple operating systems. Are you clear? Now think yourself. If I give you the chance to choose now, what will you choose? Java or VB? Java. When I have a chance to run a multiple operating system, why should I go with VB now? So this is the same thing happened. By 2000, 50% of the customers have moved off into Java. 50% of the customers have moved off into Java. And remember in the starting classes, I explained you, all right, to compete with Java, Microsoft came out with the .NET. To compete with Java, Microsoft came out with .NET. So now in 2002, Microsoft launched .NET. And in the .NET, it has given a bunch of languages for us. Yes or not? And again, in all these languages, they started giving you the GUI support. They started giving us the GUI support. So using C#, you can build GUI applications. Using VB.NET, you can build GUI applications. Using F#, you can build GUI applications now. So you have the flexibility to allow the GUI application by using all our .NET languages. Is that clear? Okay, how to develop? Very simple. Yeah, till now you are using console application projects. Same way, we have another project called as Windows Forms application projects. You want to develop a web application, you will have web application projects. For everything, there is a separate project available. You are required to take that project. Till now, what projects you work with? Console applications, class libraries. We learned 2 projects. One is console application and also is on your class libraries. Same way, now we are going to work with Windows applications now. Windows Forms applications. And these are purely for developing desktop GUI apps. Clearer or not? Okay, fine. GUI applications are also known as Windows applications. GUI applications are also known as Windows applications, but actual name is GUI only. But we also call them as Windows apps. Windows apps means GUI apps. Are you clear? Why that name came means, guys, I have a paper with some information. And I'm giving that paper to you and asking you, can you get me another copy of this? I have giving the paper to you and asking me, get me another copy of this now. What will you do? You go to Xerox and get it Xeroxed. Yes or not? Xerox. Are you using the correct word? Not Xerox here, photocopy. Not Xerox. I'll take a photocopy of it. But what you said, Xerox of it. What is Xerox, you know? Xerox is the name of the company here. Xerox is the name of the company, not the name of the concept. The name of the concept is photocopy. The first company which designed this photocopier says Xerox. It's a Japan company. It designed you. And how much we are familiarized with Xerox, you know? Tomorrow, if I open a photocopier showroom and if I don't pick my board the Xerox, people don't enter inside of it now. Yes or not? See, in our country, everywhere a photocopier is Xerox only. But we are used to that word that much. But that is actually the company name, not the concept name. What is it? Photocopy. We need to take a photocopy of it. Are you clear? So the first company is Xerox. But mostly in all the, if you go to the centers and say, we don't find the Xerox machines also. If they call Xerox, they find Canon machines. All the machines are Canon. Not Xerox. Xerox is very costly. Xerox is like iPhone. Xerox is like iPhone. And Canon is like Android phone. Okay? So everyone will have Canon only, not Xerox. But everyone calls it Xerox only. How much we are used to the world? Same way, GUI programming introduced by Windows operating system. So that is the reason why GUI applications are also called as Windows applications. But actually, what we should call GUI, graphical user interface. They are user friendly. Yes or not? See, because I don't require to take much pain to work with them, right? Click to create a new folder, easy. Suppose, see, if at all I'm just going to open the SQL Management Studio here. It is a GUI only, na? Management Studio is a GUI, okay? And I want to enter my user ID password here. And see, guys, when I enter my user ID here and come here and want to enter the password, and I noticed that I entered a wrong user ID. Can I go back and change it or not? But you can't do that in the console applications, man. That only I said you. We can't do this in the console applications now. This is Oracle, guys. CUI. Okay. I typed wrong. Your name is wrong now. You can't change. Stop and start again. But we have the option to change it here. Are you getting my point? So that is the advantage with the graphical user interface, user friendliness. You can easily navigate from one place to another place. And computers came in reach of common man today now. And you see that you give your laptop, with a DOS OS. You install DOS OS, and now you give your laptop to any kid. They won't touch your computer. They don't touch. Why? A black screen, white characters. They don't know what to do. But kids are playing with your computers also because of the Windows OS. Because of the Windows visualization, look and feel. That is the importance what we have in the GUIs. Okay, fine. Now, how to develop the GUIs? As I said, we are provided with a project template called as Windows Forms apps. We can use that Windows Forms app and you can design the GUIs. Okay, we'll see it. But remember, if you want to develop a GUI, you need a set of components called as controls. We need a set of components called as controls, like text box, buttons, labels, checkboxes, radio buttons. We need all these controls now. And now, do we need to develop these controls on our own? Means no. Microsoft has given all the controls to you and tells you consume the controls. Okay, we don't require to develop any controls on our own. All the controls are ready-made. You can directly use them. And every control is a class. Earlier also said, you remember, in object-oriented programming, everything is a class. Employee is a class. Matrix is a class. Student is a class. Yes or not? Exception is a class. Same way, controls are also classes. There is a class called text box. If you create an instance of that class, if you create the text box, do you know? There is a class called button. If you create the instance of the class, it will create a button for you. Understood or not? So Microsoft has given you so many classes to you for consumption. And these classes are divided into different categorizations. Like what? Common controls. Common controls means frequently used controls like buttons, text boxes, labels, and all. Container controls. What are container controls? These controls are containers. Means used for placing other controls on it. Next, these controls are for creating menus and toolbars for your applications now. Next, these controls are basically for displaying the data loaded from databases. Data controls. Next, some extra controls like timers and all. Next, printing controls. What is it? Page setup, print preview, all are called printing controls. You know them also. But font dialog, color dialog, open. If you want to open a window, will come for you now. That is called as a dialog control. If you want to set a font, a window will come to you. That are called dialog controls. Next, basically the displaying the reports. They are for displaying the reports. We divide all the controls into different categorizations, but all our controls only categorized into different things now. And every control is a class. And all these classes are defined under a namespace called system.windows.forms. Guys, till now, maximum you use the system namespace, correct? Did you guys watch the video of String and String Builder? In the String Builder video, I used a different thing called the system.text namespace. String Builder class will present in system.text namespace. Maybe 1 or 2 times we may use any extra namespaces, but maximum we used only system. But today onwards, along with system, you also require to use the second namespace, that is system.windows.forms for designing the controls, because all classes are in that namespace on. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or not? Okay, fine. So now, going forward, what are we going to learn, sir? We are going to learn how to work with these controls. We are going to learn how to work with all these controls. Number of controls are there. So let us go in detail and understand about every control and how to work with these controls in our applications. I hope you guys are clear. Yes or not? Let's go and see how to work with all these controls basically. Okay, fine. Before you start working with a control, remember, every control is associated with 3 things. Every control is associated with 3 things. What are the 3 things? Properties, methods, events. What are the three? Properties, methods, events. What are properties? Or if control is a class, every class has attributes, na? And you remember, yeah, attributes are properties, no? So you have a button. What are the attributes of a button? Use your brains, man. Width of the button now. Height of the button. Employee, ID, names. What a button? Width, height, background color, foreground color, font size. All these are the attributes now. Text box. Same again. We'll have the same attributes only. So that's what we call property. Properties are nothing but attributes of a control. And they have their impact on the look of the control. Have their impact on the look of the control. I change the background color of the button. The look of the control changes now. Are you clear? See, what are your properties? What are your properties if I ask you? What are the properties of a human being? Same again, height of the person, weight of the person, body color, eyes color, eye color. All these are the attributes now. Same. For control also, we have some attributes and now we call them as properties. Second, methods. What are methods? You learned about methods, guys. Every class has methods. And these methods are used for performing actions. In a customer class, we have a deposit method, withdrawal method. Yes or not? Same way we have methods here. For example, there's a method called clear. If I call the method, it will clear the content of the Xbox now. There's a method called focus. If you call the method, the focus comes into the control now. These are actions. These are all actions. So methods are actions performed by the control. So every control has methods. You know properties, you know methods also. I don't require to teach you about them separately. If anything is new to you, that is the third one only. What is that? Events. And event is our eighth member, what we did not cover till now. Yes or not? So every control is associated with three things. Properties, methods, events. What are properties? Properties are nothing but attributes of the control. Let's see how their impact on the look of the control. Methods are nothing but actions performed by the controls, like focus, clear, resetting, all these type of things. Next, events. What's an event? I have a login page. Enter my username and password. After entering the username and password, if at all it has to log in, what should I do? I have the page here, enter the username and password and sitting like this. Will it log in? What should I do? I should louder. Click on the login button. What you should do? Louder. The click is the event. The click, the word click, what you use there is an event. So what is an event, sir? An event is a time period which tells when the action has to be performed. You need to log in when. When we click, that is the time telling you log in now. You click after 5 minutes, or you click after 5 hours, you click after 5 days, but when you click on it, log in. Until then, it will not log in now. So what is the event? A time period which tells when an action has to be performed. Not only click here, so many events will be there, hundreds of events will be there. Watch it. See, look at my desktop. Look at my desktop now. I have so many icons on this. And guys, what is this? This SQL Server Management Studio. You want some message. When you want it, mouse over, that's an event. Understood or not? It's an event, guys. What is it? Mouse over. The mouse over, show the message. And when this message is disappeared, mouse out. Mouse out. Mouse over, mouse out. When the mouse is over, the message came now. And the mouse is out, the message is automatically closed. There are two separate events now. See, if I am moving my mouse like this, it's an event, you know that? If I'm moving my mouse like this, it's an event. If I click here, it's an event. Are you getting me? When I right click, it's an event. That event is showing a context menu now. Got it? So what is an event? A time period which tells When an action has to be performed now, I want to clear the controls on the screen. When to clear? When the clear button is clicked. When the reset button is clicked. When to clear? When the reset button is clicked on the screen now. So that's what a reset button click. Click is again the event what we are talking. Understood or not? So what we will be learning in our course, in the Windows programming, I will tell you about a control here. What are the properties of the control? What are the methods of the control? What are the events of the control? And we'll start working with the control now. Are you getting me? Every day until we complete this Windows programming, this only will talk. What is it? Properties, methods, events, how to work with them. That's it. Hope you guys are clear. Okay. Great. These are attributes of the control which have their impact on look of the control. What are those? Width, height, back color, fore color, all these things. Second, these are actions performed by a control. Clear, focus, close, all these things. Next, these are time periods which specify when an action has to be performed now. Click, load, what is it when the page is loaded? When the page is loaded, just now I said you, key press, when I press a key, mouse over, all these are events now. Are you clear? Now tell me one thing, guys. We have hundreds of controls. All the categorizations we discussed now, hundreds of controls are there. Is there any chance of having common properties, common methods, and common events between the controls? Tell me, every control has properties specific or chances to have common properties? Ultimately, width is common for all, height is common for all, click is common for all. Understood my point? Focus is common for all. Every control can be focused. Every control has width. Every control has height. So chances of having common properties now. Then if at all you have anything common, what should come into picture? Inheritance. Inheritance now. Correct? Listen. The parent class for all these controls is control. Just like the parent class of all the exceptions is exception. The parent class for all the controls is, and this class contains all the common members of all the controls, means all the common properties, all the common methods, all the common events are first defined in the control class now, and remaining all are child classes, inheriting the common things. Anything specific will be in the child classes. Are you getting me? See, clear is there. Understand, clear is there. You cannot clear a button, man. Array, you cannot clear a button. You cannot clear a label. You cannot clear a drop down. What you can clear? A text box you can clear. Means clear method is specific to text box only. Are you getting me? Focus. You can put your focus on any control. You can put your focus on any control. So it's a common member defined in control class. Understood or not? Okay, like this, there are something specific, something common. Another example. Checked. Checked. What can be checked? Checkbox only can be checked. Button cannot be checked. Or a text box cannot be checked. Now you understand checked is a common property for, checked is a specific property for checkbox. Not for all. Understood? Like this, we just have the things now. Read the note. Button, text boxes, forms, panels, for all controls. Control is the root. Remember, just like we discussed, exception is a parent class for all the exceptions. Control is a parent class for all the controls. Okay. Now, I want to create a GUI. I want to create a GUI. Okay, we can create a GUI. It's not a big deal. But do remember one thing. What is it? If at all you just wanted to create a GUI, if at all you just wanted to create a GUI, the first thing what you're required to do is you need to create a container first. You want to place the text boxes, buttons and all. Where you place a container is required now. And we call this as a form. We call this as a form. In desktop applications, it is called as a desktop form. We call it as a Windows form. In desktop applications, we call it as a Windows form. In web applications, we call it as web form. In mobile applications, we call it as mobile form. But form is common everywhere now. So form is a container first. What we should do is, we should create a form. After creating the form, we need to add the controls on the form then. Are you getting me or not? So how can I create a form? Very simple, guys. Very simple code. Just watch it. Very simple code if at all you want to create a form. Yeah, we are in our folder now. I am adding a class called as form1. Some name, guys. Form1. And what I want to do, I want to create a form. Okay, come on. The first thing you're required to do is import the namespace. Which one? I said you all the controls are present here only now. We need to import. Now I'm defining a class, guys. Public class form1. Are you clear? Listen, guys. You want to create your own exception. You want to create your own exception. What do? You define a class inheriting from the class exception. The new class becomes an exception, right? Same process. If you want to create a form, the same process we follow. Define a class inheriting from the predefined class form so that the new class is already formed now. Okay? Colon form. Where is this class? This class is in this namespace. That's why I imported it already. Okay, this is the first step here. Your form is ready now. Now run it. How to run? Create the instance of your class. Form1f is equals to new form1. Okay, just a second. Now compile it and run it. Oh, no output, sir. Simply came out. That's all. We did not see any output here. If you want to run this form here, you need to add another line of code. What is this? There is a class called application and that contains a method called run. We need to call this method and say run the form. I need to call the method and say run the form. So to create a form, 2 simple steps. Step 1, define a class inheriting from the predefined class form. Step 2, create an object of the form and give it to the run method and it runs the form. You want to see the form? Recompile your code. Okay, executing, guys. That's your form. Check it out. There is a container here. You have a notepad. There is a form first. On that form, you have text area and a menu. Did you understand me? You see a browser. It's a form first. On that, you have menus and everything on that. But first thing is form. Without that, you can't do anything now. Understood or not? Even Visual Studio is a form. Visual Studio is a form, and on that they added menus and all and making it look like this for you. But first it is a form. This is the form now. And you can start your designing by placing menus, text boxes, buttons, whatever you want, you can add on this now. The form is ready. Are you guys clear? 2 simple steps to create a form. What is the first step? Define a class inheriting from the predefined class form. Define a class inheriting from the predefined class form. Step 2, create the instance of the class and pass it to the run method. Run method will run the form now. And run method is present in application class, and this is also defined in system.windows.forms namespace only. I already imported in that's it directly working. Form class also present there only. Application class also present there. Did you understand? But actually, we don't write code in Notepad here. We write code in Visual Studio. Just to show you a form, I've written this code. But tomorrow we'll see all these things directly in the studio by using a project called as Windows Forms Application Project. Is that clear? Let's stop it here. We'll meet tomorrow.